Scott, when are you happiest?
So Ellis and I were talking before the show. I assume we're live now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I told him, well, we were talking about getting projects done, and I told him, I said, I'm not necessarily the guy that can get something published, but I'm my happiest when I have a project that I'm working on, that I have a comic script that I can just dig in, and because I hate having to uh, find work. I mean, even like when I was doing, when I went through a spell where I'd send off submissions every other month to like Marvel and DC, and it wasn't big things. It was, 4 or 5 pages, but but they at one point they sent me a bunch of scripts, and nothing made me happier than like digging in and being like, oh man, I got this project I'm working on. I felt productive.
Hmm.
I enjoyed drawing. I just, just, and so to me, some people find sitting at a desk drudgery. I only find it a drudgery when I don't have something to draw, you
Hmm.
know. Um, and so my thing is, give me. I mean, and that's the thing is like, and I don't know who's watching this or whatever, but. I was telling Ellis after the thing, several people kind of reached out to me. People I had talked to, nobody knew, but
Hmm.
kind of reached out to me about, but my thing is, if you want to work on, I'm working on the Black Cricket because Dan sent me a script.
Uh-huh.
If
Yeah.
somebody else, and
It's
I talked to
real.
several people,
Yeah.
if they had scripts, I would be working on their script instead of
Yeah.
Dan's. But if I finish this and they send me a script, I'll work on their script. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I can't work on nothing,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's the thing is like, well, there's got to be something to the project. I
Hmm.
can't, the writer has to do their part before I can do my part. And if they do their part, I'm happy to do my part,
It
you
makes
know.
me wonder on some of these projects that I'm so crazy about Brubaker and everything like that. But I
Yeah.
wonder if he gets that kind of stuff done in a piecemeal fashion, the same way that all that big stuff gets done, as in Lost. That stuff wasn't written from beginning to end. That was being written by
Oh
the
yeah.
week. Does
Oh, I
is
bet it's,
that
I don't know.
do you think he's got it all written out, or do you think it's going to surprise him a little
Well,
bit as he writes it?
okay, so it's funny you asked that because I was talking to somebody at work today,
Hmm.
and I was telling them that I had, and it's a guy. I have a new employee, and his name is Mario White, and I've known him for a while, and he draws comics, and
Oh yeah, okay. You have Mario, huh?
yeah, you know Mario,
Oh yeah, I
and
do. Well,
and
that's
he
cool. You guys are working together again.
yeah, he worked before, but he didn't work with me. He worked
Hmm.
at my work. He is working with me now. I am his
Yeah,
I'm his boss.
yeah.
Anyway,
Was he
which
your
is
boss before that?
no. We worked in
Okay,
different departments.
okay. Go ahead.
Anyway, so I was telling him that we were kind of talking about people we've worked with. And I was telling him, one of the first jobs I did, I worked for this. I was drawing this book, and the guy was literally giving me a page at a time.
Uh
Hey,
huh.
Daniel's here,
Yeah.
and, so I he would give me a page, and then I'd draw the page, and then you're like, oh, it was like he didn't draw it until, or he didn't write it until I did the page. It took
Yeah.
forever,
Yeah, that'd be
and
rough. I mean, going a page at a time for a comic script, I don't know how you go that way.
yeah,
Uh,
it was there was some, yeah. Well, it may, I say a page at a time. It may have been a couple pages
yeah,
at a time
yeah,
to be 100% accurate, but
yeah.
anyway, so he anyway, and the project fell apart because at one point he and that's what I was talking to Mario about, because at one point
He got
uh
he
he
felt taxed, didn't he? He says,
well,
"Oh,
no, no,
I
no,
can't I
no,
can't
no.
deal with
He
these
wanted a
deadlines." Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. He wanted a character designed, And so I designed. He told me what he wanted, which was basically like the old Power Man, Luke Cage, Power Man.
Uh-huh.
And so I did it. Well, but I didn't want to make it exactly like Luke Cage, so I kind of put my own kind of spin on it. But it was Luke Cage,
Uh-huh.
and he kept, well, make him more like Luke, make him more like, he kept.
Yeah.
And finally he told me, I think he got frustrated, and he told me, well, I got another guy, I'll have him design it, I'll get back with you. And then he never got back with me.
Uh,
And that's kind of what we were talking about, because
and that
I
came out as Cage Luke.
no, I never. Well, I don't want to get
Okay,
it.
never
It
mind.
was one of those comic projects that went awry,
Yeah.
and I don't mind if it's not working. Let me know, but don't just, well, as the youth say, don't ghost me, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Do
Uh,
I
you
say
know,
that? I don't think I even know
no,
what that
you're not a
means.
youth, but no. Sorry, Ellis.
Yeah, but
Don't qualify.
maybe, yeah, I don't know what it
Well,
means.
and that's, if there's a problem, let's work it out, or anyway. So I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, well, we were talking about, well, so I'll tell you what this goes to, Duke Rage. Yeah. Anyway, so because I posted this panel here
Hmm.
on
Yeah,
the
I saw that.
internet,
Hmm.
and I wanted to do that because I wanted to kind of nail down the character in my mind and the
Yeah.
look. And what's funny is I've drawn this way, whatever you want to call this, forever. And when I first started drawing comics, and so after I finished Heaven's Rejects, I started kind of working on my own stuff. I was like, I want to develop that. That's what I want to. I was studying a lot of Bronze Age artists and stuff. And it's like, okay, this is what I want to. This is how I want my book, whatever. Before Black Cricket came on the things, like, this is how I want to do the book.
Hmm.
And so, or whatever I'm working on, which was my
Hmm.
own thing, whatever that was going to be. And so I was kind of messing with it. And so when Daniel approached me, I was like, well, the pages he sent me were kind of manga looking. I said, well, I don't really draw like that. And he said, no, you can do what you want. I said, I'm more like kind of a So it's great because he said, when I posted this picture, he's been very kind, and him and the inker, and said, oh, this is perfect, exactly what I want. And it goes back to, and I'll show you this. This is what I want to show you, and I'm glad Daniel's here. So probably 10, 15 years ago, I drew this. Well, you can see it. Make sure you
Oh
can see it.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
has been I'm sure you've seen this, Ellis. This was in my portfolio
Well, you
forever.
know
Probably,
what? I've
it's a double
I've
page
seen. Yeah,
spread.
oh, it's a double page spread. I was going to say, yeah, I've seen 2 pages worth of something that looks like that. Yeah.
Well, and here's the third.
Oh,
This is
okay.
one of those samples I did when I was
Hmm.
mailing Marvel samples every couple months. And I've got these. Now, these are not the originals. The originals are somewhere around here, my flat files. But I had high-res copies. I printed them out because this was what I wanted the book to look like. And so I
Uh-huh.
kind of printed them out just kind of to keep in front of me here on my desk as like
Yeah.
inspiration, kind of.
Uh-huh.
I've found when you're trying to achieve a certain look, it kind of helps to have that stuff in front of you so that it kind of give you a kind of a true north, I guess, or something,
Absolutely. Yeah. Hmm.
and so anyway, so that's what I've been doing. And I told Daniel on Facebook today that my inspiration is John Byrne with Masamune Shirow, because for a long time, I mean, I was a huge John Byrne fan as a kid growing up. I've talked on here many times about how much I love John Byrne's art.
Hmm.
But when I got a little bit older, like back in the got out of art school and stuff, I discovered Ghost in the Shell, and there was
Oh
something
yeah.
about it that I really loved.
Hmm.
And to be honest, I'm not sure I've ever incorporated all of that, and I certainly don't draw a lot. But there's something about it, because I've always said, like, my perfect style would be like John Byrne and like Sid Mead, who's very similar in a lot of ways, but maybe like Sid Mead, like John Byrne's figures, and like Sid Mead's
Environments.
environments and mechanical stuff, and
Hmm.
and then Masamune, some a little bit of Masamune Shirow mixed in there, and a little bit of Jeff Darrow, but not so much. When I first discovered Jeff Darrow, I thought he was amazing, but I've kind of gotten a little cool to him because his stuff, to me, it starts to look real repetitive. I hate to say that. Not that it's not
Well,
impressive, but
yeah, I saw his originals at a con one time, and then, for one thing, we used to work. We thought the height of line work when I worked at that studio where we did Yellow Page ads was working on vellum.
oh yeah,
It's like
yeah,
looking
and he
through
does.
glass, in terms of like tracing up, some rough sketch. You can ink it right like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, we used to work on it all. Yeah. Okay. I'll take that. The We used to work on it all the time at my work.
Mhm.
Before we started working digitally,
Uh-huh.
100%.
Yeah, and I used to dig it, but so I saw that vellum. I said, "What a blast from the past!" I wonder what his background was that introduced him to
Animation.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. You could
No, yeah, that's
have
what he
that
did.
need for tracing up. Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is I saw him at, see, was it Chicago? And he had like his art dealer or somebody had a portfolio of his as full of his of originals you could buy, and it was Shaolin Cowboy versus some sort of monster, and it looked to me like he had drawn the scene out and then copied it on vellum and switched out monsters
Huh.
so you could buy. Now there was a little bit of
He
variation,
using his own artwork, but insert.
but
You know,
mass
Glenn
producing it as such.
Glenn Bard does something like that. You can see it in one of the books I bought. You can see the masking tape he is using to hold his traced up
Yeah.
revision
Well,
in a
and
place.
if it's your own stuff, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm not being critical. Well, Darrow is a little weird because it's like he's selling them with the idea they're originals, and they are, but it's like, but I mean, he's not purporting that it's from the comic or whatever. So,
yeah.
but I like his
It's kind of
line
got a
work.
like Andy Warhol, or there's a lot of guys that basically turn into factories for their artwork.
Yeah, well, I
I
mean,
mean,
I
it's
can't
it's
imagine
a
what
way to make money to
his
make it
originals are like
pay.
$1,000 or so. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't blame him for
hmm
spending a week and churning out something that you can sell for 50 grand. I mean,
yeah,
do, I think about it, do 50 of them and you bought a house, or
yeah.
maybe well, maybe not a house, but a small house in 1980s.
hmm Yeah,
But
it's always nice to refer back to when you could
buy a house.
buy something for make a living and buy homes and stuff like that back in the old days. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I feel sorry for anybody. I mean,
Oh yeah.
anybody that's just starting out now. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, things are so freaking
Well,
expensive.
and yeah, and it's a you know gotta think it's conspiracy based. This whole
Well,
thing, this whole winding down of the whole notion of middle
of the
class.
world. Don't
Yeah,
say
no,
that. I've been reading Revelation, man.
yeah,
You know, you, you never know where we're going.
no,
The uh, yeah, so my wife and I recently moved our bank accounts. We were tired of our bank. They were being jerks, and we've had the bank forever. And since COVID, they're like, well, we're not open. You can't go in the lobby. You can't do this. And so we switched banks. And literally, I think what we took out of our savings account was like what we spent on our first house.
wow.
I mean,
Okay. Well,
I mean that was years
someone got
ago.
happy with that transfer. Yeah,
Oh
some
yeah.
other
Oh,
banker.
they called to check and see if we were okay.
Yeah.
Michelle said, nope, we're unhappy with your bank. Hey, we've been complaining about some stuff forever and been told, well, don't worry about that. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I
Go
have
on.
options. Yeah,
Go
you
on
go
your
on.
own.
I'll take my money. You take,
Mhm.
we'll see who needs who worse. And the bank we put it in is paying us like 3% interest. So.
That was one way I knew that the guy I worked for, Cliff Hansen, I told you he started the Highlanders. This was the guy that was the small. It seemed like a small little nothing business that was doing Yellow Page ads, and that seemed to
Oh
be
yeah.
his main concern, main business, other than hobbyist stuff like being. But I think that that contract paid him some big money over the years, and every now and then he would get calls and invitations to look at this and that as far as a financial thing. What he ought to be doing with his money, So
Oh yeah.
it made you realize this guy's got some money socked away. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the that job, which I guess Dan is still listening. Ellis had a job drawing Yellow Page ads, basically,
Yeah.
which
Mhm.
to me, I mean, when I was a kid, when I was in art school, that particular job would have seemed like the pinnacle of just cool
Yeah.
jobs. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
just because you could just sit there and draw all day.
Draw all day long on about a
Yeah.
30-degree angle with just a beautiful little and have a really good friend across from you drawing all day as well, and you're just going back and forth to the dark room and making prints here and every now and then.
Oh, did you use a
it,
stat camera?
yes, a stat camera. We just had
See,
the
that's how it
best
used to be at my
time.
work. So I
Yeah.
had a, I mean, I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
in a good position now, but I do. To me, that's the,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
just to sit
that's
there.
it's a kind of it's just kind of a groove. It's a
Yeah,
very fun little groove to get into. Oh, we had stress, but you don't
sure.
remember that now. Just
No,
seems
no.
like wow, that was such a cool job.
So what did you draw? What were you drawing, like cars? And because when
Yeah,
I was a,
cars were always fun, but you try to idealize some headshot that came in that was going to be for a beauty parlor. So everything you knew about drawing hair really cool and layered properly with the right amount of line weight and all that. That was a lot of fun to do. And like you say, cars. Everybody that uh, was a wrecker wanted their wrecker
oh
traced up.
yeah.
And so, yeah, you did a lot of fun wreckers, uh, drawings, and it was a really cool job. It
I
was
know that
a
for people listening to
yeah.
probably like, oh my
People wonder
gosh.
what's wrong with us. Yeah,
Yeah, what is wrong with you? Don't you
yeah,
want to be doing animation or
yeah,
whatever?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I to me and see that kind of goes back into the yeah, back in the day that would have been a stable job, something you'd need to do every year. Oh, Ellis
Yeah,
closed
yeah,
it
yeah.
before I finished
Oh,
it. But yeah, well, and see that's what I was trained to do. I went to school for commercial art. And
hmm.
literally I was trained to do paste up and to do spot illustrations and the industry died like right after I graduated from college.
Yes, yeah. It was
I mean,
all. I
luckily,
didn't know. Yeah, I was in its death throes right as we quit it, and I think Cliff knew it. That's the deal. You can't underestimate a guy like Cliff that was a colonel in Italy during World War II, artillery. I mean, the guy probably could see it coming way before anybody else.
oh, probably he had to have known
Yeah, yeah, and
that, well, oh God, I mean the Macintosh,
yeah, oh yeah.
this, I mean
Well, we were out well
desktop
before the
publishing.
real revolution and all that. Yeah.
Oh, were you?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. And see, at one point, my aunt worked for the phone company, and she told me there was an opening. I'd worked at my job for about 5 years, and she said there was an opening at the phone company, and it would be doing that. But I
Mhm.
I don't think I would have lasted my whole
Well, you know
career
what?
there.
I think Cliff didn't. I don't. I know he didn't have all the business. There were other studios that were doing that. Yeah, yeah, that's true. There would have been things around to pick up that Cliff definitely was leaving on the table.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure he was the biggest contractor.
oh yeah, that I don't know. To me, to me, just sitting around I mean, that's, well, like I said, if you me, I'm happiest working on a comic. You give me a script, and I'll work on it, and you know, just keep me busy, and I'm happy.
Now you open up Chat GPT and type in a couple of sentences,
Type in,
and there's your work for the day. I guess.
yeah, I'd
I've
rather
seen
work
some
with
of that stuff.
people.
It's fascinating. I mean, I'm just fascinated because as a guy that has bounced off the idea of turning himself into a programmer, every time he's ever tried it, dug in just so deep. Uh, the idea that I might be there's a guy he was designing his own curriculum with that chat. What is it called? Chat GTP or
ETP, yeah, something like that.
yeah. And basically, he just was asking, give me some lessons in how to program Python, and he was, it looked like it was whipping it out for him. It's
Oh,
amazing.
really?
Yeah.
We're gonna, what's funny is we're gonna end up in the spot where nobody works in entertainment, no humans.
Did you see that video where someone said, copy the style of this for my video of me walking on the beach? And it was the copy the style of the moon landing. And sure
Oh, yeah.
enough, it was just like real time. What do they call it? Motion capture, no, motion tracking. And his video became a walk on the moon, only with the you know his movements and all that, and had many instances of that. You could have a picture of Lee Falk's The Phantom, and say, okay, now make me look like this throughout this short subject, and pow. Now that does eliminate work right
No.
there. It's like, hey, wait a second. That would have taken me.
We, as a society, we need to think about where we want to end up with
Yeah.
this. I know see right now with like the art thing,
Hmm.
with the AI art, a lot of people that are not artists are like, this is cool, I can do this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's some cool stuff coming out, but we're gonna get, we gotta decide, do we want a future with artists and writers, or do we want to live in a society with no human creativity, which
Hmm.
I don't know if that's the way I want the world to be,
Yeah.
I know that,
Well, it
art costs,
does seem like it
yeah.
will diminish things. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Have you seen, well, you're on Facebook, there's a Facebook group that it's dedicated to Midjourney. And what people are doing is they're going in and they're going like, show me stills of like for example Dune, and obviously they're putting in certain keywords, but
Hmm.
what it is like a movie like Dune with all the stuff you see shot in the style of, for example, like Barbarella, with that kind of
Hmm.
sets and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So it's and it's like, it's cool. It's a cool exercise, but man, when you think about the implications for people's creativity and just, it's like, how will we? I get it. It's cool that people can do this, but it's like, where do we end up like this? Or do we end up as a society that no one creates anything new? It's all recycled because because the art or the computer, it can't create anything new. It
Hmm.
can create new. It's obviously Barbarella and the Dune style, or Dune and the Barbarella style, is new. We've never seen that. but it's taken its visual cues from somewhere,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
so it's like, well, and I don't know. I mean, I just think it's, I don't know.
They
I mean,
apparently
obviously it's out, so
they may
you
be
know.
making Barbarella over again. Actually, Barbarella is kind of nifty because that but was basically we none of us knew what a Euro comic looked like. None of us,
Right.
if you were in
I haven't.
college, you might have seen Pilot or something like that that was in the library if you were looking for
Right.
it. But I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Pilot. It's got the little dash at the end of it.
Yeah.
Pilote with a dash. How would you
Yeah.
pronounce that?
Pilot.
Anyway,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
Uh, but that was the first, and obviously the French, they knew their comic books. They knew that, Barbarella, that looks like stuff I look at all the time. But us,
Yeah.
I mean, that blew us away. It's
So
like,
what in the
hey,
world?
groovy.
Yeah.
All these sexy women.
It's funny you say that because I watched a YouTube video the other day that was like, I forget what it was. It was a review or something about Barbarella,
Hmm.
and I had seen it a long time ago. Well, I say that I don't know if I ever saw it completely through. The library used to have a copy of it. They don't anymore. So I
Huh.
was like, maybe I need to buy that.
Yeah, I
It's
tell you
it's
what, visually and it's fun. It's funny. I mean, it's a funny romp. John
Yeah.
Philip Law is the angel. He's very funny if you're in the right mood for it. Uh,
But I have one of the comics.
hmm.
I got it at a library sale. They had Barbarella, and I was like, huh. It was put out by Heavy Metal, so it
Hmm.
wasn't the French one. Oh, well, I mean, but it was by the same guy, for Claude Forrest or whatever his name is.
Hmm.
I kind of like this art style.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I've never pursued that. It's out there. I'm sure that the comic book that Barbarella is based on is out there. I should try to dig up some of those and have a look at
Yeah.
them.
Oh, hang on. Let me grab. I have it right here. I was looking at it the other
Oh,
day.
is it vintage? I mean,
It's probably 70s, 80s, maybe. I don't
hmm,
know.
yeah, yeah, that's vintage.
Yeah. No, it's brand new. I mean, so this was
Oh, there it is,
apparently.
Barbarella, the Moonchild. Oh, yeah, that's no
See,
doubt.
it's got the thing about the movie.
Cool. Oh man, that's a great. You've got so many great little books.
That's because I'd never throw anything away, my wife would say. But see, I kind of like some of it. I like. Let me find. I like the style of some of this. See, I like this guy right here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that reminds
Um,
me of what's his name, Alex Nino or something like that.
it's yeah. And see some of it like there. Oh, you can
Hmm.
see that.
Oh yeah,
Some of it's kind of a
groovy.
cool
Dig it.
shot. Um,
So it's miscellaneous artists doing
no,
Barbarella.
no, no. It's the same person. That's what I'm
Oh, okay.
saying. The style changes.
Huh. Okay. Cool.
You know. I like this kind of. See that? Her face.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's gorgeous. Uh, you ought to check on eBay to see what that's going for. Just
I
out of
probably
curiosity.
should. Who knows? I got so much crap around here that who knows what it may go for. But I mean, I never sell anything on eBay. I mean, I'd rather have it than the
No, it's a
money.
pain. It's
You
a pain.
know?
Yeah,
I mean,
eBay. And plus, you've got
I
the
bought a book off eBay the other day.
well, yeah. I mean, they're great for buying stuff from, but you have the pain of anything you sell on eBay. You realize, did I want to
I
give
don't.
that much
I
of
don't
my
know.
money to that company? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've thought about because I need to. I really do probably need to go through and get rid of some stuff. But uh, And occasionally I'll go, because I got some stuff that I could eBay for pretty big bucks.
Oh yeah, I think you
But
could make.
again, I mean, if I needed the money, I'd do it. But I don't need the
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
That's the problem.
That's the best way to be. Need the
It is
money.
the best way to be. That's how I can afford to do comics like The Black Cricket,
All
and I
right.
don't have to go. I gotta get paid.
You gotta
You
get
know,
real work.
I
Yeah.
can work. Well, I can work on what I want to work on, and I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, it's great. That's the.
That's the way to be.
Yeah. Um, I shouldn't say that with Dan on here. I need all the money, Dan.
Yep.
No, I mean, I would rather. I mean, if all I've ever cared about in working on any of these comics is getting published. I've done so much
Hmm.
stuff that didn't get published, and or got published, and I felt like I got just totally hosed by the not financially, but they come in and just butcher it. I had
Hmm.
one where the colorist I inked it, and the colorist came in and
I
changed
remember
some
that. I
key
remember
panels,
that. Man, I
and I
remember
was
that.
livid.
I'll be right back. I want to fill up a coffee cup real quick. Be right back.
Okay. Anyway, so I don't know if Dan's still on there, but on here, but if he is, I'll say I I did not feel well this week, or I would have been farther along. I hurt my back last week doing something. I think I was doing something at work, which is not something I do a lot. And anyway, I was hoping to have this is page 2. I should have had page.
Maybe it was
Should have been past
fortunate, that
this.
coffee being off in there without me merged up to it.
Oh yeah, I got mine over here, man.
Yeah.
I was making. I don't know if Dan's still on the show, but I was making my
Says,
excuses for.
yeah, it says, I
And
do
not,
promise everyone will get a piece of the pie. It may
that's
not
fine.
be a
I
big
mean, I
piece,
don't.
but there will be a pie. But there will be
That's
pie.
that's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, I'm not. Again, I'm not. I mean, that's the thing. Is I work. I want to be able to. I mean, to me, something like this is cool, and Dan has been extremely cool about appreciation of what I'm doing, and so it's like, okay, as long as I'm in a good spot, that like
Mhm.
that, then I'm cool.
There was, I'm bringing Mad Men up again.
Oh yeah, aren't you done with that?
They had a client which was of a type. It was a guy that was they've seen before, and they love them because they're rich and they got money to burn, and they've got a stupid dumb project that they're willing to spend anything on because they believe in it. And this guy, in this case, it was a guy that said Highlight is going to be just take America by storm.
Nice. I
But
like that.
but they couldn't bring themselves without special clearances of actually even talking to the guy's father, where all this money really originated.
Oh.
They had to know, are we clear that we're taking full advantage of this guy and just spending his money, and
Oh yeah.
so that sort of thing can happen, I guess. And that could be a kind of an ideal thing for an artist, to find somebody that just had money to burn and treated you as a budget line item and paid you really well on something that you'd go into it knowing this won't make a cent. I I
Yeah.
guess I'd do that. I'd be making somebody happy with my work.
Yeah, I think sort of that example. I'm going to say this, and you're going to have a. I think that's how maybe Frazetta was at one point. Not about never going anywhere, but I think he just got to where people just
Oh,
liked his work. He had people
his
that were
his
almost
Al
like
Cap
patrons.
his Al Cap years are just complete laziness. Yeah, yeah. He was he could have done everything he ever did if he just said, you know I need to get out there. But he was being paid very well, and he had people to compare himself to. He had those
Oh,
comic
yeah.
book guys that weren't making half of what he was making with Cap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I think he honed a few things while he was working with Cap that maybe he wouldn't have honed otherwise.
Maybe. Probably.
His little Annie Fanny contribution. And there was something I was reading that just shocked me that supposedly Frazetta wasn't too dependable on little Annie Fanny. They had to do a
Oh,
lot of
really?
stuff. Yeah, they had to do a lot of stuff around him or something like that, which like shocked me. It's like, what? Don't tamper with how Frazetta does.
My perception of Frank Frazetta.
Yeah. Both my perception and what I imagine they'd be tampering with, his great art.
Yeah. Definitely.
Thank you, Scott. I'm enjoying working with you too.
Oh, thank you. I will get in the swing of things, and we'll get this going. Like when you were gone, I was making excuses for only being on page 2, Ellis. Well, I hurt my back last week. I think I may have said that on the show.
What'd you do to it?
And oh, I don't know. And I haven't been used to. I mean, I've been painting, so my desk has been flat.
Yeah.
And so now I've got an angle, so I'm leaning over.
Uh-huh.
And the other day, I woke up and like, my chest hurts. I was like, oh man, that's why I realized I made myself sore because I was out of shape or whatever. Anyway, so I didn't draw it this weekend because I was like, my back, it felt good on Thursday when we talked, but then Friday I got up. Well, no, I overdid it.
You're
Friday.
doing the world's most ungainly plank. That's the you do a long isometric exercise like that, you will pay for it, whether or not you're aware of what you've coded into your muscles or not. You are going to.
Well, and last Friday I went downtown and walked around for a couple hours, and that probably didn't help. So Saturday and Sunday, instead of drawing a lot, I drew a little bit, but instead of drawing a lot, I was on the couch. I was still drawing. I just wasn't working on my comic book. So
I'm really digging The Martian, and I've got it right sitting here. I got the DVD from the library, so I'm ready to review that the moment I finish the. I want to finish the audio book before I watch it again.
Finish
because
the audio book first.
Yeah, I know it's different in a lot of ways. Obviously they got to tighten it up and.
Yeah, he's not on Mars.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was all fake.
It was all fake. Just like the moon landing. It was all fake.
Capricorn 1 or something like that. There's one about them being fake.
Yep. Nope. It's Capricorn 1. That's on Amazon Prime. I've never seen it, but I want to watch it.
It's got James Brolin in it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
I just remember seeing the ad when I was a kid.
Is it James Brolin? Yeah, James is the dad. Josh is the guy, the kid. The Goonie.
Michelle and I have been slowly watching all of the Disney animated movies because we have Disney Plus, and so we're slow because I'm like one day I'm gonna get rid of this, but it's one of the few streaming services we have, and so we watched what is it? Mr. Toad and the
I was crazy about that when I was a kid because that came out, on the Wonderful World of Color.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Toad's So and So Adventure.
Yeah, and then Ichabod, Legend of Sleepy Hollow is the other. It's two.
I guess those were always joined, weren't they? Yeah.
No, I was reading about it, and on TV they would break them apart because they were like
Hmm.
an hour a piece or something, or
Hmm.
45 minutes a piece. And so for the show they'd break them apart, but at
The
the
wind,
theater they were all
the wind and the willows.
that's the book it's based on. I forget
Yeah,
what it's called,
Mr.
but
Toad.
anyway,
Yeah.
Mr. Toad, and because Mr. Toad's Wild Ride
Uh huh. Yeah.
was one of my favorites. Well,
Yes.
it was interesting. I don't want to say it was one. Sorry. My wife, this is for Dan. My wife and I have been to Disney World quite a bit. We went last spring, and we started going when she graduated from school. She demanded that we go on a quote real vacation because we were too poor to go anywhere until she got out of school.
Hmm.
And so we went to Disney World for like 12 years straight, you know. And then we kind of switched it up. But I'm going to San Antonio in a couple weeks, so you know.
What's groovy in San Antonio?
Well, we're going for it's a work trip for Michelle, but I'm going to go to the Riverwalk. There's actually an anime convention. I reached out to Ben Dunn to see if Antarctic Press was going to be there because I thought I might, if I had some pages done, I might take them and show them to him.
Comic book cons are not real vacations. Well, it just depends.
Well, no. Well, before we went to, they are, but before we went to there, we didn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
I went for years before I ever took a day off work because my work's policy used to be they just paid you. They didn't even, it was kind of a weird deal. They didn't even, they didn't give you time off. They gave you a check on your, it was kind of weird. I mean, you got to understand my company was basically started in this guy's garage. So everything when I started, it was out of the garage certainly, but a lot of the policies kind of went back to that. And on your anniversary, you'd get a check for whatever it was, a week or two's worth of work. And so Michelle was in school, so I would just when I would save my time. I mean, I didn't have time. You didn't get time. You just took off, and you didn't get paid for it because you didn't have any leave. You
Mhm.
just got a check, and then they changed up the policy. And then at that point, I had to start taking time because they used to just pay you.
Mhm.
They didn't care if they didn't care if you went anywhere or not.
Yeah.
Well, then they decided, we probably need employees that take vacation days. But I mean, man, I got so much vacation. I got to work tomorrow, and when I clocked out today, I have 41 hours. So it'll be a short day because I only work half a days on Friday, but I still got to go in. What'd you do today, Ellis? You didn't get out in the freezing stuff this morning, did you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been out 3 days running. All the bad weather. It's only so bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been getting out. I actually waited until today to gas my car up because I was hoping for slightly better weather, and it was slightly better.
Well, later, first thing in the there were like
Oh yeah.
100 wrecks this morning. It was crazy. Michelle and I rode together because
Oh,
she was.
what they had ice, I bet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well so yesterday when I was driving home from work, I got about 2 miles from my house and it started sleeting on me,
Mm.
and I thought, ooh, this isn't good.
I didn't
And
know it got that bad. No, I was in and
yeah.
nice and warm during
Well,
that period.
what time did you leave
Oh,
the house in the morning?
I get done with that walk by 1, 2 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, no. It had warmed up by 9. So I
Hmm.
mean, you missed all that.
Hmm.
You 100% missed all that. Anyway, but so we rode together today because she was concerned, which was good because by taking her to work, I couldn't take the highway to my work, and that's where all the problems was on the elevated bridge, and I have to go across the bridge there by downtown.
Mm.
But with her with me, I took her downtown and just took the surface streets to my work. So
Well, it seems like a long haul from downtown
my
to
house to
surface streets. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't too bad. I mean, she drives surface streets all the way downtown. It's not that bad.
Hmm.
Normally, we
Wow.
go down Northwest Express, or She'll go
Yeah,
down Northwest
yeah, yeah,
Expressway. I mean,
yeah. You guys have got a pretty good straight shot downtown. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. It ain't that bad. But anyway, I may go downtown tomorrow, Ellis, depending on what the weather does. I don't know if you're interested or not. Of course,
And,
I said that last week.
hey, Scott, Antarctic Press is in San Antonio.
I know, I know. I've thought about trying to. I don't know. Just the I don't. So I don't. What I don't. And somebody at work has gone down there, and was telling me, oh, you should go. So I don't know if I could reach out to Ben and go, hey, I'm gonna be in town. Can I come? I know he says I should. I should just reach out, but I don't know. I mean, it'd be cool. I've been to Marvel and I've been to Valiant. Been to Marvel twice, so it'd be cool to go to Antarctic Press.
Well, I cold called Marvel Comics and had Marie Severin look at my book.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, I just don't realize what an idiot. I've got like the sands of time or have flown, have settled over all of it. But man, I have done some idiotic stuff. I tell
Why
you.
do you think that was idiotic? I mean, I think. I
Well, it's
mean,
just dumb to show up and say, "I'm here. Who wants to
they just
look at
walk.
this art?" You know.
What? Yeah, but what year was this? What year was
Uh,
this?
it would have probably been mid '70s, something like that.
Ah, dude, I wouldn't even. I mean, man, read that book about Marvel Comics. They were starving for talent in the mid
Well,
'70s.
yeah, and there's moments where you get a grumpy guy like James Warren saying, "Shut up, don't bother me." Who is he? Bernie Wrightson. Let's have a quick look. Oh, okay. You can
Yeah,
stay.
yeah. Hey, man,
That sort of thing happens.
I'm a big believer. Well, I mean, I've been to Marvel twice, so, and they didn't
Yeah.
invite
Well,
me.
well, you know what?
So,
Daniel says Marie was cool though. I bet she was a sweetheart. I think she was 100% sweetheart, but she was put upon by somebody
all the,
showing up and needing her time, and I don't blame her. You know, hey, you got to meet Marie at least. That was worth the trip right there. You're right. And
yeah, no
while I
doubt.
was wandering, okay, we can exactly date it. While I was wandering around there, I wandered from there to wondering where was everybody headed, and followed them over to Central Park and watched Simon and Garfunkel's reunion in the park. A fairly big concert that went on. That was kind of cool. So I'll date it. I'll look it up right now. See Simon and
So
Garfunkel's.
when I went to Marvel Comics, uh, I had met CB Cebulski at at San Diego Comic Con, and he gave me his card and he said, "Oh, keep in touch." And so the next fall, again, I got to go to New York as with a work trip for my wife, and so I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I'm gonna be. I don't know if you remember me. We met and da da da." And he's like, "Oh yeah, call me when you get here." And so when I got there, I called him. This is pre cell phone, so it was very awkward getting a hold of him.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, "Yeah, come by it." He gave me the address, told me what to do and who to say I was and all this stuff. And when I go in there, the first thing he does is he goes, "Now, where's your store at again?" And I go, "Oh, I didn't want to mislead you, but I don't own a store." And he's like, "Oh no, okay." And I had brought some samples um, to show him, and he sat down and spent. There was no editors in there. In fact, he even lamented. He said, "I wish there were more editors. I wish there were some editors here so I could introduce you to them." Which
Mm-hmm.
you think about what if. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and so the so I sat down and he told me he told me all about storytelling. So I found this because I've been looking at old art, and I found this. This was in.
Look at this.
Oh, that's
Daniel
cool.
has interviewed Marie Severin, and
Oh, that's cool.
she just instantly was very, very nice to him. Yeah, very cool. She's nice to me. I mean, I'm not saying she was. It was just that you could tell that
You
there
felt
was
bad
a bit
about
of there's a bit of impatience. Oh, but I never will forget this one line she gave me
yeah,
about animals. It was something like
yeah.
animals don't have uh, emotions. I had a couple. Oh, I could even show you this stupid sound. Well, it turns out, I was much later than I said it was. It's 81.
Oh,
Yeah. Daniel, you can brag. Sure.
no, yeah, that's cool. Now I'm wondering if what he's done in any of the other Tomorrow's magazines I
Yeah,
have.
sure.
Tomorrow's is a great public. I have a bunch of
Yes.
Tomorrow's stuff. I've
Hmm.
I've been picking up their oh, I've got the Don Heck, the Herb Trimpe, the Dave Cockrum, the John Severinsen books. A lot of creators that I was really maybe not enamored with as a kid so much. I recently
Hmm.
bought. I don't know if it was back issue. It's downstairs. I bought one of their books. They interviewed Jim Mooney. I've talked about Jim Mooney. How I've recently discovered Jim Mooney, and I've got this Spider-Man that
So
I've
this
shown
is
on.
cool. What I wanted to brag about was he broke the story that she was co-creator of Spider Woman.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. It's cool that she was, and it's cool that you broke that story
Hmm.
because I think the official story was Chris Claremont, maybe something like that.
That sort of chain of custody on who did what is
Oh, that's
gets kind of important eventually. Yeah.
Ask Steve Ditko.
Yeah. Of course, he got paid a lot more than what any of us casually know. You know,
Oh yeah,
he
that's what
had
I've
some
heard.
he had some big checks in there, which is good.
Oh yeah, no, no, no.
I want to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah. He had it coming.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
And
Is,
plus the lawyers were just let's clear this out. Let's clear this up. This is worth millions to us. What does it take to get this guy just completely that we can just forget him, and that
it's
would be probably some fun amounts, I
it's
would
like my
think.
friend who's a lawyer that does he represent his company or the firm he works for represents insurance companies in car wrecks. He said it cost them $10,000 to go to court. So if you keep the number under that, they'll
Hmm.
probably settle with you, unless they
Hmm.
just think you're just totally screwing them.
Hmm.
And that was several years ago, so who knows now? And that's not legal advice. That's just a
What you know
statement.
from. Hmm.
What I know from because I was in an accident and they didn't want to pay for this and that. They were questioning everything, and I was like, well, their thing is they always like, well, if you don't sign this, we can't fix your car. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but if you'd rather, I can fix it. I can pay to fix it, and I'll just take you to court for the money and whatever else I can get out of you, or you can pay, or But I mean, that's what they try and get you to sign a lowball thing, and you just
Hmm.
have to be like, well, I don't, I'll again, my cousin, when she was real poor, when she was on disability stuff, and she always told me, "Oh, they're always screwing poor people." It's not that they're screwing poor people necessarily. I mean, it
It's
is.
just it's
It's
business
just
as
this.
it's
Well,
SOP, standard
well,
operating procedure for
it's
how they
just
do
that
it.
if you have money, they can't make you have power. They don't have power over you. If
Hmm.
you don't have money, you're dependent upon them.
Yeah,
So if you can afford to fix your car yourself or pay for a rental car or whatever they're not willing to do up front, you can just say, well, I'll pay for it, and then I'll have to take you to court for to
for the
recover my
rest.
payment.
Hmm.
And if I do that, this will not be the cheap route. This is the
You
cheapest
stop in
you'll
there.
get right now. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I was going to. Here we go, Daniel. Added all this. I have been writing
oh
for
yeah.
back issues since the second issue. Also, I've written for Retro Fan. And
See,
he wants to get you some of his issues of
oh
you,
yeah, absolutely. You can send me any back issues you would like to send me. Uh,
and Marie
yes,
Severin designed the character's look, and then he says, for the longest time, everybody thought it was John Romita, but he told me to talk to Marie when I asked him about the character. Huh? How about
that
that?
is really cool. First off, it's cool
Yeah.
that you talked to John Romita.
And then
I
he referenced someone else that he knew actually did it. That's cool. Yeah.
that man. So I feel like I don't know Dan, but I feel like Dan and I are um, of similar taste.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, I don't think he's gonna look at my pages and go, God, it looks so old style.
Hmm.
You need to get some, whatever in there.
We were talking about your mojo earlier before we came on, and now I can't remember what was in reference to. Oh well,
Who knows?
yeah, yeah, yeah. John Romita. Oh yeah, he was good.
Oh yeah,
He was that era personified. Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
You know, I shared this, but I know I did not do any searches for this topic because I knew how to do it. I bought cocoa, 100% cocoa bars,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I was going to melt them and add my own sweetener to them to make some candy bars. I was going to add nuts and all that. So I knew exactly how to do that. But I swear to God, I got home and the next within hours at the top of my Roku suggestions, there was homemade candy bars with nuts, and it's like that data to thrust that at me like that had to have come from data we think is totally private from my receipt at the grocery.
Did
And
you pay with a credit card or
I
debit
pay I
card?
paid with my debit card.
Yep, that's where they got you.
Oh my
Oh, dude,
God,
there
that's
there was
amazing.
something.
I
There, okay, I've got something even more. This happened a while back. I was telling Michelle about this. God, what was it? I didn't have my. It's like I had this dream, and and literally, I can't remember what it was about, but literally, like I saw a Facebook ad for something related to the dream, and I was like, how could this? And
how could that happen?
I don't think I told Michelle about it even. It's just like, oh my gosh, it,
Where? Yeah, I mean they are. It is getting
we're
kind
being
of
data
frightening. We were
mined
talking earlier
heavily.
about AI and stuff like that. It's they really are wanting to, and it's so weird because it's in such a traditional want of saying, "What do you want to spend your money on?" When it seems like they're trying to degrade you in every other way all across the board. So it's
Now,
like,
why would they want? Well, they're
why do
just
you want my money when you're trying to basically
Yeah, you don't want my money.
Exterminate me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want my money when it comes to comic books, obviously. It'd make comic books I want.
Yeah.
So what gives?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's the other deal. They're looking for a demographic. I'm really surprised I'm ever even touched on by any of this stuff trying to sell to me, because my demo is, 1 foot in the grave. I mean, sell me a casket, I guess. It's like that sort of stuff. And come to think of it, I got some good material from a undertaker the other day. Yeah, funeral home.
It was great.
Yeah. They know who you are out there.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun. I didn't know what I was starting to draw until I drew it. Those are always fun.
Oh, yeah. You got a knack for that. I'm not good at that. I got to know.
Well, that mark leads to that mark. That's the way I do it.
I should do that. I saw a video about that. I forget what he called it. What? Oh.
Yeah. The Black Cricket looks like a comic I would have read as a kid. I would have read all of that stuff that was coming out. The Blue Beetle. Who was doing that? Charlton. I've said often.
Ditko.
Yeah, Charlton just having those presses running just to keep the ink wet, because they had other jobs, and the comic books was not the business. It was just to keep the presses wet that they punched out comics, and it's like that job we were raving about earlier of tracing yellow page ads. It's like, doesn't that sound great? Someone just wants me to fill my time with drawing comics that they don't even want. They aren't going to give me a moment worth of editorial saying, do it over.
You do this over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've been an hour, Ellis.
We have been. And yep.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Dan.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun to
One of these days we'll have to see if we can get Dan on the show.
Sure. Well, that's easy. I'll just send him a link.
I don't know if he may not want to, but
okay.
If you're interested, let me know, Dan, and I'll have Ellis. I'll give him your email, and he can send you a link when we go.
Okay. All right.
If you want to, if you don't want to, that's cool too. Whatever.
Yep.
The page is shaping up. Let me show you the page before we go.
Okay. Oh yeah, I dig that. Yeah.
So this panel right here is going to be him. I was going to do it in Illustrator because it's like a view through his helmet. But I decided I'm just going to do it on the board. But he puns. That's okay. We're good with that.
No, I think everyone agrees. Everyone hates a pun. I'm kidding. I don't. Yep. Okay. Thanks for sharing that around. It helps. Every little bit helps.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man.
Okay, Scott. So we saying bye.
Yep.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Thank you.